Now, let's talk about traveling and touring around Australia. And if you're from overseas or you're new to the terms, you may have heard the term overlanding.
Some of the biggest things that are shown on YouTube are where to go, what to pack, and epic adventures onshore and offshore.
But what we don't see enough of on YouTube is people talking about the items, things, modifications that you don't need to tour around Australia. Even though you see all of these influencers all over social media saying that these are the must things that you must bring when you're traveling, I believe there's a lot out there that is anything but practical and only good for videos or photos. I mean, Mads and I are even guilty of it. I mean, we show you a lot of things, but we try and show you a lot of the realistic tips, as well as providing you guys with some really useful discount codes, which are here. As well, if you want to support us, you can shout us a coffee or a beer, which our link is in our bio. And then we've also just brought out this thing called channel memberships. So if you want to subscribe to that, we can give you a lot of exclusive deals, and we'll even reply to you with any questions via video format. So what are we really trying to show you here? Well,
So we're down here at the beautiful Victorian High Country at Kin River Campground. And what we're going to do is we've done up a list of the top 7 items or modifications that you don't need to pack for your Australia trip, so you don't make the same mistakes that we made. Now, we're all guilty of overpacking the car for things we don't quite need. So number 7 on my list is fragile kitchenware or heavy kitchenware. Now, when I'm saying that, what I mean is my first mistake was probably packing glasses. And I thought packing a nice wine glass would be okay if I packaged it right. Well, was I wrong? Broke straight away as soon as we hit corrugation. On the same topic of fragile glassware, sauce bottles. You get those pre-made ones. I just recommend opt them out for those foil packaged ones instead, so you don't make the same mistakes we have. We have to clean up glass and sauce. I had to opt out my camp oven. Originally, I wanted to do Sunday roast every Sunday, and it just was not practical because it took a lot of time. There wasn't always firewood. Not every place allowed for fires, and it was very time consuming. Had to get rid of it, but I am thankful I did. I have a lot more room now.
so the number 6th item on the list that we decided was something that lived in the back here and really took up 70% of the room. Now, the item that I am talking about is one of these bad boys, a chainsaw. So whether petrol or electric, obviously for the petrol ones, you need to be carrying around fuel, but for both the petrol and the electric, you need to carry around oil. And these things are such a pain in the ass. We've been touring with one of those for the past 3 years, and whilst it's good to chop down really big trees that have fallen over, oil leaks everywhere, you got to carry fuel, and it takes up an immense amount of room. So I've come up with a really good solution. And that solution is a reciprocator saw. So I've got it packed in one of these. So I just want to quickly jump in here and say that this canvas bag and all the canvas storage that we're going to be putting in our car, which I'll reveal to you later when we hit for WA, are this Australian-made, locally owned Queensland company, family that creates these canvas bags for all your storage solutions, and I'm really keen to show you guys. Storing, waterproofing, keeping all that red dust out of a lot of things that we're carrying, especially expensive camera equipment, things that you can put on your dash, Starlink. There's so much on their website, it's absolutely ridiculous. But the perk of the reciprocator saw is you don't need oil, you don't need fuel, it saves up a lot of room because you can take the blade out. So we've only got the 12-inch blade because we thought that's going to be the best, that's all we need. We're not going to be cutting down heaps of big trees, and we're just going to be using it for campfires and stuff like that. But it saves a ton of room, saves fuel and oil, and keeps it all neat and tidy. And then as a bonus, it's really easy to pack away and doesn't take up much room at all. So coming in at number 5, spotlights, light bars, anything on the front that's going to project more light than your car can already do through its high beams. Now, it's something you see on every full drive touring vehicle, and let me explain as to what I believe this is number 5 on the list. Now, through our experiences, we do, and everyone does, a lot of their traveling throughout the day. And on our 12-month adventure that we went on a couple of years ago, as we're about to do the same again, doing WA, we did all of the traveling, as I said, during the day, which means only once or twice throughout that 12-month period did we actually need our spotlights. We had a light bar here, and I also see people have their light bar up there, and that costs thousands of dollars. So what we suggest is spend the money on getting those square little small spotlights that go in and around the vehicle that you can use when you're at the campsite to light up the area around you, rather than the once or twice that you might get stuck night driving and you might only use it for an hour at a time, as opposed to 2 or 3 hours every single night. It's a better investment and it's really something that we wanted to throw in there.
Number 4 on the list is jerry cans for water storage. Now we've made this mistake ourselves and we've seen so many other people make them. They only carry about 20 litres, they're hard to fill up, hard to get the water out of when you're done, and also when you're just trying to get water quickly, it's quite impractical. So that is one I would opt out for, and I'd come up with a better solution like we have, where we 40 litre foot well that goes under where your feet can rest on it, or a bladder that goes behind the seat. We've incorporated in a 25 litre water drum. We used to have a battery powered water pump that would get the water out, but Samuel was clever enough to jig up a little electrical system to pump out the water for us, which has made it so much more simple. Now, number 3 on my list is mainly for the girls. I myself are extremely guilty of overpacking clothes, shoes, and toiletries. Prime example was going around Australia traveling. I packed too many clothes, I packed too many fancy dresses and tops, and I ended up sending so many of them back. Instead, swap out for versatile clothes that are quick drying and that you can layer as well. Another one is toiletries. Overpacking toiletries. You don't need half the bathroom with you. I know you have to maintain hygiene while you're away traveling, but you don't need fancy body sprays or, all these different creams. You just need practical items. Practical items as well, I'm talking about shoes. All you need is thongs that can also opt out for fancy shoes as well. But a pair of sneakers or hiking shoes is all you really need. You don't need all these fancy shoes. You can opt out for them as well. Just stick to the basics with what works while you're traveling around Australia.
All right, number 2, the hated shower tent. Everyone knows that they've been camping when they're growing up. You've seen these things and these are an absolute pain in the bum to bloody pack up, put down, take away, do whatever you want with it. One of the biggest things that I've seen people that have come out in the market now that we haven't got around to is putting one of those shower tent awnings on the side of your vehicle, because not only does it help with having a quick shower on the side of the road, but Maddie also is always saying to me that she doesn't have somewhere to quickly get dressed or go to the toilet if you've got other people around. We like to head away as much as possible to get away from people, but sometimes caravan parks and other campgrounds, you just don't have the privacy there, and they are such a bonus. And now you can watch me try and pack this up. I reckon that took me at least 6 months of camping when we were going away around Australia to get that right. That used to take me like 15 minutes. Now, the moment you have all been waiting for, number 1 on the list. We thought that mud terrain tyres was some of the most impractical and overrated tyre that you can put on your touring vehicle or something on while you're traveling Australia. Let me explain. Now, majority of the time, you're either on dirt roads, beaches, traveling on the blacktop, or if you are going in muddy scenarios, you're probably not hitting bog holes in the car that you're needing to rely on whilst you're traveling. So we thought mud terrain tyres were going to be one of the first tyres that we do not put on our vehicle, because we've heard so many people only get like 20 or 30,000 kilometers out of them. And we think so far that an aggressive heavy all-terrain tyre has gotten us out of 97 to 98% of scenarios. And there's probably only a 2% of the time that a mud terrain would have been handy, but that's what we got the winch snap straps and what we've got the sandboards or the max tracks out for as well. Now look, let's all be honest, the mud terrains, they do look aesthetically good on a vehicle, and they do really help out when you get into those big, tricky, muddy situations, or if you're going into water crossings and you've got a really soft, sandy bottom. But that's about it, and I don't think that outweighs the ongoing costs of having to continually replace the tires, but as well as the 2 big factors, they are bloody noisy. Even if you've got a well-secured inside sealed car, you can still hear them. But as well, we found when you go to some of those remote roadhouses where if you do get a flat tire, not all of them carry mud terrain tires, and you're more likely than not going to be replaced temporarily with an all-terrain tire.
So I hope you have learned from some of the mistakes that we have made when we went and did our trip around Australia.
Yeah, I tell you what, it is absolutely bloody hard to know all of the things and do all these trial and errors over the years to find out what you need to bring and don't bring. Oh man, that would have been hilarious if you found in. I hope you got out of that some realistic ideas of things that you don't need to bring, rather than always finding out all of the thousands and thousands of dollars that you always need to bring with you when you're traveling. Because at the end of the day, just keep it simple.